What's up? What's up? What's up? I hope all is well. Actually, I am just a second. Let me pull up my music here. Here we go. There we are, y'all. I hope all is well. Welcome in. Welcome in. Let me get my stuff up here. I hope y'all are having a good day. Happy MLK Day. I hope y'all having a good day off. Just a second, I'm actually missing my glasses, y'all. And I can see. I can see, like I promise you I can, but it's much easier if I have them on. So, give me 1 second. All right, we back. Hello, welcome in. How are you? I'm excited to jump on today. Hopefully these aren't dirty. No, I think we're good. I think we are good. What's up? I'm excited for today. Let me turn this down just a little bit. I'm excited for today. Thank you so much for everyone who voted. Hi, Shavonia. Welcome in. Make sure to like the live and make sure to let me know how you are, where you're watching from. This is very interactive. Feel free to talk back to me. But I'm excited to talk about today. Thank you to everyone who voted on the topic for today. It was a good amount of votes on all platforms, but most was for the emotional intelligence topic. So that's what we're going to talk about today. The other ones had a good amount of votes too. So we may visit those, or we will visit those, I would say, in the coming weeks. So if you voted for some of the other topics, don't worry, they will come. It just won't be today. But yeah, emotional intelligence we're talking about today. If this is your first time, my name is Debbie. I am a certified mindfulness coach and then also a therapist in training, currently interning. And this channel is all about mindful living, just finding ways to, navigate our emotions, navigate our lives, navigate our thoughts and feelings, actions, behaviors, all of that. That's the things that we talk about on our on the channel. We do this every Monday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. And again, today is all about emotional intelligence. So if this is your first time, make sure to like the live, make sure to share the live with someone that you think can benefit from it. And most of all, subscribe. Why not? Make sure to jump on in. And then also let me know in the comments how you're feeling today, where you're watching from. I hope that this gives you awesome insight and some help. Help that you may be looking for. Even if it's just one thing that I may say that's beneficial, that's my goal here. It's not about everyone taking in every single thing I say. It's more so of me at least sparking something to help with you navigating your mental health. Awesome. Welcome in. Thank you so much for coming in. So we're gonna dive right in, y'all. Okay, we're gonna dive right in because we got a lot to talk about. Just a second here. The first thing I want to do is make sure that I define emotional intelligence, because I think that gets thrown around. Hi, 93 Love. Welcome in. Thank you for my moderator. I appreciate you. But yes, the emotional intelligence term gets thrown around a lot, right? Especially on social media. And everyone has their own definitions. Everyone has like what they think it is and their own explanations and overview. Emotional intelligence is definitely a real thing. It is a clinical term. So you can say that there are a lot of things going around on social media that people are claiming as clinical terms, even therapists. And I'm like, that ain't nowhere in the books. Ain't nowhere in the books, but I digress, okay? But emotional intelligence is a clinical term, and it speaks to how well you notice, understand, use, and manage your emotions, okay? So I'll say that again. Emotional intelligence is how well you notice, understand, use, and manage your emotions. Okay? It's also your ability to notice and understand the emotions of others, to support healthy thoughts, decisions, and actions. Okay? I'll say that second part again. It's also your ability to notice and understand the emotions of others to support healthy thoughts, decisions, and actions. Okay? So that's really just a blanket description of what someone means when they say emotional intelligence. Sometimes people feel like, oh, I know what I'm feeling, so I'm 100% emotionally intelligent. If you can't know and understand how things may impact others, and it's not necessarily taking responsibility for others, right? Because we can talk about that all day, and that's definitely not what I'm talking about. It's more so being able to empathize and understand another person. So that's what emotional intelligence is. What does it mean to be emotional intelligence? There's a few things that it is, and there's a few things that it ain't, okay? And I know that's not proper English, but I don't care. I'm going to say it that way. What it is awareness and accountability of your emotions, right? Awareness and accountability, right? Because we can be aware and not be accountable, okay? Awareness and accountability for your emotions, understanding emotional patterns and triggers, and that's your emotional patterns and triggers, intentionally choosing responses instead of reacting, and then also just knowing that it's a skill set. It's something that can be learned and improved on, all right? What emotional intelligence is not? It's not suppressing or dismissing your emotions, okay? It's not sitting in avoidance and denial, which a lot of us do, including myself. I raise my hand, okay? I'm not, perfect, right? It's also not hypervigilance or criticism of your emotions. That's what we call anxiety, right? Where you are very hypervigilant about how you feel, and then therefore you sit and wallow and ruminate in that thing to a point where it creates a detriment to your mental health, right? So hypervigilance, we may think that's what it is, but it's not. That would be called anxiety, okay? And then it's also not, or it ain't, taking on the responsibility of other people's emotions. Sometimes because we know and understand and can see and empathize with other people and their emotions, we then therefore try to take on the responsibility to fix that for them. And that's where we fall into people pleasing. That's when we fall into even just burnout and frustration, and even some forms of like resistance when it comes to relationships. So wanted to make sure that I gave you guys a really thorough explanation of what that looks like and what it is and what it is not, okay? Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. I hope that this is helpful so far. What I'm going to do is talk through the 4 core areas of emotional intelligence, what they look like, and how you can cultivate those in your daily life. And then also I want to say a few reflection questions at the end, as well as a few affirmations. So again, I hope this is helpful. Talk back to me if you have any questions. If you need me to repeat anything, if you need me to go back to anything, let me know. So there are 4 core areas of emotional intelligence. Number one is self-awareness and motivation. I'll say that again, self-awareness and motivation, okay? The question you want to ask yourself in number 1 is, what am I feeling right now and why? It all starts with awareness, right? The pause to become more aware is critical in understanding or becoming more emotionally intelligent, right? There's more than just knowing that there is more than just the common 6 emotions, right? We sometimes, when we think about emotions, we think, okay, I'm either happy, sad, angry, maybe overwhelmed, I'm joyous. You have like these 6 core ones. I'm one of these 6 things, okay? And one thing to understand is there is way more than 6. There's way more than 5. There's way more than 4 emotions. There's literally 27 distinct emotional states that you can be in, right? And there are nuances to those emotional stressors or states. So it's a very complex thing. Emotions are layered, and having an initial understanding that it may not be just those 6, and it may be multiple at a time, is the beginning of starting to understand your emotions. If you want to see a little bit more about emotions and like how many emotions there actually are and what those emotions are, you can just Google like a feelings wheel or a feelings chart. They're all across the internet. You'll be able to see and find different ones. But understanding within your awareness that it's going to be more than just 1 or 2. And there's multiple emotional states outside of our normal angry, sad, happy, because those are the ones that we go to. And anger is typically a secondary emotion. So anger is usually going to show up after the initial emotion. So you're usually going to show up with anger. You say you have a sense of embarrassment, then you have anger, right? Or you have a sense of sadness or a feeling of just being hurt, and then anger shows up, right? So understanding that multiple can be there, and that when it comes to these emotions, it's more than just the 5 you want to name, right? Hello, Jerry, welcome in. Hi, James, welcome in. Thank you so much for joining. Okay, so that was number 1. We talked about the 27 distinct emotional states. So self-awareness, how do we become more self-aware? Name the emotion and notice how it shows up in the body, right? Knowing how it shows up in the body is crucial and important, because ultimately, or many times, or oftentimes, your body will show evidence of an emotion before your mind recognizes it, right? So you may feel anger, but typically your brain isn't registering that you're angry until you actually start to feel it in the body, all right? So if I'm naming an emotion, okay, I'm anxious. I know that I'm anxious right now, right? How does that anxiety show up? Do I feel jittery? Do I feel restless? Does my heart start to palpitate? Does my stomach turn in knots? Do I get tension in my shoulders or in my back? Do I feel flush over my face, right? What does that actually look like in the body? And being able to name the emotion and then also name how it feels in the body helps you to have more awareness and be able to recognize it even more as you continue throughout life. And how that is helpful. That's helpful because you can determine that you're having an emotion before your brain even recognizes it, because it's now showing up in your body. 2, you know how to respond to it, because if it's showing up in your body one way, your response may not be to, sometimes with anxiety, they tell you to drink something cold, or they tell you to splash cold water in your face, or to eat something sour or whatever. That may not be the response that you need. It may be, oh, I need breath work, or, oh, I need to maybe work out in the morning, or maybe I need to do some journaling. Your response will change based off of how you understand how your body experiences it. And anxiety is also something that is so physiological. It's so physical to the point where you may not be having an experience that is making you anxious, but for some reason you feel anxious, or for some reason you have the anxiety in your body. And that's how really critical it is to know and understand your body just as much as the emotion. Thank you, James. Okay, so that was name the emotion and notice how it shows up in the body. And then also I said with number 1, it's self-awareness and motivation. So So remaining motivated to take action rather than sit in denial or avoidance. Oftentimes, a lot of us are very self-aware. We are very aware of what's happening, both in our minds and in our body, but we neglect to take action for whatever reason. We feel like it's not as important. We feel like we don't have time. We feel like we don't necessarily have the space to, or don't have the capacity to move or be motivated to take action. Sometimes taking action is exhausting, right? If we have all of these emotions happening all at one time, it may be exhausting to take action on every single thing that pops up for us emotionally, right? So, remaining motivated, even in those moments where it's difficult, will help you to stay in a state of emotional intelligence, okay? So remain motivated to take action rather than sit in denial or avoidance, and then stay motivated to keep actions and thoughts aligned with your values. We talk about values a lot. Thank you, James. We talk about values a lot, right? And when we're able to navigate our emotions and notice and understand our emotions, it helps us to stay aligned with our values, right? So if I say my value is honesty, right? And then I continuously have an emotion of anger. Being able to be motivated to take action on that is aligned with my value of honesty, right? I have to be honest with myself and say, hey, you've been angry a lot, okay? Like, it's been coming up a lot. Like, what's going on? What is this telling me? What is this message telling me that I continue to be angry throughout the week, right? So staying motivated and taking action on your emotions will help you to stay aligned with your values, because a lot of times we spend time in denial and avoidance to where we end up being burned out and we don't know why. Well, we don't know why because we're not really addressing issues or addressing the emotions that we're experiencing, and it's taking us further away from what we value and what we think is most important to us emotionally, spiritually, and physically, right? So making sure that we stay motivated in noticing and that self-awareness will keep you aligned with your values, okay? When it comes to emotions, there's one thing that you want to understand. And the best way that I described this to a client last week, and it was so helpful for them. So I'm going to explain it here. When it comes to your emotions, it's like notifications on your phone, right? You have your phone and you get a notification. You probably do one of four things, which is, number one, you look at your phone, right? You don't read it. You don't even pay it any attention. You just swipe it off your screen. You put it on D&D, and you never look at it again, right? And then more notifications begin to pile up, and they pile up and pile up and pile up. And then you finally go into your phone, you take off D&D, and you look at all the notifications, and now you have all of these notifications that you have to go through and try to process and take action on. And it's frustrating, it's overwhelming, and it creates more of a just burnout and spiral out, right? That's avoidance, right? That's literally just avoidance in a nutshell. Another thing that you could do, which is you look at your notification, you read it, and then you swipe it away. You get another notification, you look at it, you read it, and then you swipe it away. That is compartmentalizing, right? You see the feeling, you see the notification, and you just throw it away, right? And not necessarily throw it away. Compartmentalizing can be helpful sometimes, right? If you have a lot going on, say you get a notification on your phone and you in the middle of something, and you're like, okay, let me finish this thing and then I'll come back to it. That's helpful. But sometimes we compartmentalize and then we just leave it in the compartment and we don't never go back. We never go back to look at it, right? So if that's something that you have to do, just knowing and understanding, okay, like I can't do this now, but I do need to come back to that and I need to address it and I need to take care of it, right? The other thing that you may do, the third thing that you may do is you would look, you read, you sit with it for a second, you take action on that notification, and then you go about your business, right? You look at it, you read it, you sit with it for a second, you take care of it, you take action, and then you go about the rest of your day. That's where we want to be, right? We may not always be there, but that's where we want to be. And then the last thing you may do is that you look at it, you read, you sit with it all day, you dwell on it, you sulk in it while other notifications are piling up. And you're focused on this one thing, and all of the notifications are piling up on the side, and then you just focused on this one thing. That's called anxiety. I hope this is helpful, y'all. Let me know in the comments. Hi, Linda. Welcome in. I hope this is helpful. So really, there's so many different ways that you can look at these notifications or these feelings and emotions, right? But what you want to get to a point of is being able to look, see, notice your emotions, name it, and then take action. Okay. Whether that action is right away or is compartmentalized, either is fine, but you want to take action on it, because once you allow those notifications to pile up on your phone, you look at your phone, and then now all of a sudden you have all these notifications, and now you're overwhelmed. You don't know what to do with it, and then you don't know where to start. Okay. So I hope that explanation was helpful. I hope this gives some insight to your emotions and how to be more self-aware. I'm not understanding your question, Linda. Thank you, Justin. I'm glad that this is helpful. Okay, so that was number 1, self-awareness and motivation. And we're going over the 4 core areas of emotional intelligence. Number 2 is self-regulation. So asking yourself the question of, what support does this emotion need? All right. Every strong emotion will point to a need. Okay. Fulfilling that need is how we're able to regulate it. All right. Now, will you be able to always fulfill the need? No. Is your emotions always rational to where you're able to fulfill the need? No. But this is just the beginning of understanding your emotions, right? And understanding why they show up and why they may show up so strong, right? Because many times we have emotions that show up and we're like, all right, whatever. But then there's other times we have emotions that show up and we're like, I can't shake this. This is difficult. Okay. Justin, yes, I can define it. I can go back and define it for you. So emotional intelligence is how well we notice, understand, use, and manage your emotions. Okay. Emotional intelligence is how you notice, how well you notice, understand, use, and manage your emotions. It's also your ability to notice and understand the emotions of others to support healthy thoughts, decisions, and actions. I'll say the last part again. It's also your ability to notice and understand the emotions of others to support healthy thoughts, decisions, and actions. I hope that was helpful. I gave you some light. Hi, Hiru. Welcome in. Good to see you. Happy New Year. Okay, so where were we at? So yes, every strong emotion points to a need. Fulfilling that need is how we regulate it. Every strong emotion has a message, and every emotion needs support, okay? So every strong emotion, this is strong emotions, right, has a message, and every emotion needs support, all right? So I've said this before, I'm pretty sure I've said this often on other lives, is that our emotions, there are no good or bad emotions, right? There's many times when we look at emotions, we'll say, oh, joy and happiness and gratitude and all of these things are great, good emotions. And anger and sadness and overwhelm and frustration, those are all bad emotions. This is an indicator of emotional intelligence, an indicator of understanding that there are no good or bad emotions. Emotions are just teachers of what it is that we need and where we need support. So just because you have a quote unquote bad emotion doesn't mean that it's necessarily a bad thing. It's just a matter of understanding that, hey, I have this emotion. It's very strong right now. What is it that I need? What support is missing? What information is missing, right? It's a teacher, it's an indicator, it's a notification of something happening, right? So when we're able to shift our headspace of saying like, oh, I have this bad emotion and I don't want to feel this. That may be true that you don't want to feel that emotion, but it's not bad. It's just information. It's a message, and it's something that you need help or support in that needs your attention. Okay? So once we're able to like shift our thought process of what emotions actually are and what our belief system is surrounding emotions, the easier we'll be able to embrace the ability to notice and name the emotion and then to follow up with regulation. Okay? So let me make sure I'm not missing anything. Emotions show us what we need, not necessarily the actions towards others. Put a pin in that. Let me pause. Let me practice my therapy skills. There's a thing called silence. Let me give you some silence. Okay. So emotions show us what we need, not necessarily the actions we should take toward others. Okay. I'm gonna pause again. Did y'all hear me? Okay. That's my therapist glasses. All right. Emotions show us, I'm sorry, I'm silly, y'all. Emotions show us what we need, not necessarily the actions we should take toward others. Okay. Just because you're angry in a particular situation doesn't mean that you're angry at the person. It could have been something that has come up in other spaces, has come up with other situations. It could be your own triggers. It could be your own feelings of abandonment. It could be childhood. There's so many different things or reasons why you could be feeling an emotion. And sometimes we think of our emotions, or oftentimes we think of our emotions to be indicators of action when it comes to a specific person or situation. And many times it's for you to get or gain attention to that thing and to pause, not necessarily to take action, especially against another person. Now, granted, does people maybe deserve some things? Maybe they deserve some words. Maybe they deserve a few things, a piece of your mind. I get it. Yes, absolutely. But if we're talking about emotional intelligence, taking the pause to know and understand what's happening inside of you first is important. Is that the most easiest thing? No. Is it something you're going to get right every time? No. Is it something that you're going to be able to have awareness of every time, and you're just going to act and react based off of, what you see? No, like that's definitely going to come up for you. But the more that you're able to notice these things and take action as you see them, is how you grow and becoming more emotionally intelligent. It's a spectrum. It's not necessarily going to be something that you're going to be great at your first go, especially if you spent your life not being able to regulate, having a hard time regulating your emotions. I say that again as somebody that has had a hard time regulating their emotions throughout their life. And this is something that I've been learning as well and getting better at. I'm not perfect, but I'm getting better at it, right? And progress is what's most important. So, emotions show us what we need, not necessarily the actions toward others. Needs are a guide, not a demand, right? If you have a need, it's a guide of what you need. It's not necessarily a demand right now, this second. And there can be more than one need, right? So if I'm angry, if I have a spirit, I keep going back to anger, but if I have a feeling of anger, there may be a need of understanding, right? There may be a need of fairness or justice or just being heard, right? Or just the need of setting a boundary. There's so many different needs that could be coming up for that one emotion. So understanding that the need is a guide, it's not a demand, and there can be more than one need, okay? I have a few examples. I did give you the first one, which was anger, which anger may mean that you need a boundary, fairness, a voice, justice, understanding. Sadness may show that you need rest or you need compassion, comfort, or space, right? Anxiety may show that you need reassurance or grounding, certainty, or clarity, right? Overwhelm or the feeling of overwhelm may say that you need simplification, a pause, or support. Fear may show that you need safety, reassurance, information, clarity, and even context, right? Sometimes we have fears that pile up on us because we are taking things or perceiving things in a wrong way. We need more information or more context in order for us to release the fear. Sometimes when it comes to fear, it's just lack of knowledge. So because I don't know enough about something, now I have a fear. And ultimately, more information about that thing can start to relieve that fear, right? Another one, frustration. So if you have frustration, you may need progress or problem solving or release or patience even, right? Because sometimes we get frustrated because we're lacking patience in a particular situation. And then even when it comes to what we may call good emotions, joy. If you are experiencing joy, you may still need a way to express that joy. You may need time to pause and to kind of bask in that joy. You may need a time to sit in gratitude or to celebrate that joy. So there's so many different. Every emotion is going to have some sort of need or message or support of what action you should take next. Okay. I hope this is resonating. I hope this is helpful. Let me know in the comments, y'all, if this is helpful. That was number 2, and I kind of rambled, y'all, but my bad. That was number 2. Number 3, social awareness. So we went through the first 4 core areas of emotional intelligence, which was self-awareness and motivation, and then self-regulation. Number 3 is social awareness. The question you want to ask yourself in this space is, what might be happening beneath the surface of others? Okay, so social awareness is understanding someone's emotions and just understanding that it's not the same thing as managing their emotions. There's a difference. Because sometimes we may think that we understand someone's emotions, and because of that understanding, now we have to take responsibility to manage them or responsibility to fix those emotions. That's not what emotional intelligence is. That's people pleasing. Okay? That's what that is. It's about consideration versus responsibility. I feel like I'm getting loud, so let me take my... Because I get mad sometimes because people be like, oh, I gotta fix this. I gotta fix them. No, you don't. No, we're taking on too much, and then we wonder why we burn out, stressed, and anxious. Okay, understanding someone's emotions is not the same as managing their emotions. We want to understand them. We want to empathize with them. Maybe we can offer solutions, but we don't want to take responsibility for their emotions. Okay. Emotional intelligence invites curiosity, not caretaking. Okay? You can be curious about what they're feeling and why they're feeling a certain way and how that shows up in whatever type of relationship you're having with that person, but you're not necessarily having to take care of their emotions, right? Walking on eggshells around them, trying to please them in any way possible, even if it's a detriment to yourself, right? Staying loyal to someone that isn't reciprocating, okay? That's what the caretaking is, right? We've done this with our parents. We've done this in romantic relationships. We've done this in friendships. We've done this even like mentorship relationships or people that have a leadership over you in some sort of way, right? So it's okay to be curious. It's okay to be understanding. It's okay to be empathetic, but we're not taking care of nobody's emotions. It's up to them to take care of their emotions, okay? And then it's also just a matter of thinking outside of the box of what you see in front of you, right? If you're in a social situation and someone's emotions are strong, right? someone's frustrated, they're overwhelmed, or they're crying, and all of these things. Understanding that there's more to what you see, okay? What context might be influencing their behavior that I don't see, okay? And being able to know and understand that, they're always the saying of we don't know what people are going through until you actually sit and have a conversation with them. That's where the curiosity is coming from. Be curious and just don't take what the other person's expressing at face value. Okay. Now, granted, do people be wilding? Yes. Yes. But that doesn't mean that you have to step out of your values and out of yourself in order to meet them and match them. That whole matching energy thing, hate it. Hate it. Why would I step out of my own energy and my own emotional state to match someone else's in an effort to get back at them or an effort to like kind of meet them where they are? That's stressful, right? Because now you're in a state where you didn't necessarily want to be, or maybe it's not even in your character to be, and now you're kind of, at the end of it trying to mop up the mess because you stepped out of character and you matched someone's energy. I hate that term. I hate it, hate it, hate it. Okay, sorry y'all. Tangent. So when it comes to asking the question of what context might be influencing their behavior, what does this do? It either de-escalates the situation, right? And it gives you a space for genuine connection, or it calls them out on their crap and they don't know what to do with it. And that's on them to figure that out, not you, right? So when it comes to, let me make sure I'm not missing anything in social awareness. So when it comes to social awareness, you're acknowledging that their reaction may not be about you, right? Because you want to know, hey, there's context here. There may not just be me. Stress, fear, fatigue, or unmet needs may be present in them to where that's what's causing them to have this emotion or this escalation, which allows you to be more empathetic towards them. And acknowledge that you may not have the full story. But also know that you are not excusing their behavior, minimizing your own boundaries, and you're not taking ownership of their emotional regulation. Because ultimately, you can help and support someone in regulating their emotions, absolutely. But you don't want to take the responsibility of trying to fix it for them. Okay? Hi, Justin. Thank you. I also rewatched the videos a few times and take notes because it's a lot to take in. I know it is. And listen, I have my notes too. So that's why they're always up for replay. Yeah, I mean, and pace yourself. It doesn't necessarily have to be where you're trying to do it all at one time, especially when you've lived a life a certain way, right? When they tell women who have babies that, hey, it took 9 months for your body to make it to this certain state. It's going to take at least 9 months to a year for you to get back to your regular self. And it's the same when it comes to emotional skills and practices. If you lived a life years and years and years a certain way and you make an attempt to make an adjustment or change or to adjust a habit, it's going to take time. So be compassionate with yourself as you're practicing, and go at a pace that works for you. And I would say also just be very honest with yourself of how much time you can actually spend to it. You don't want to overexert yourself in trying to fix things so quickly. But I'm glad it's helpful, and I'm glad that it's bringing some sense of motivation to make changes and to alter and to better yourself. So I love that, Justin. Okay, so that was number 3. Yeah, so number 4, this is the last one. So the last space when it comes to emotional intelligence is relationship management. So we've already taken the time to be more self-aware. We've already taken the time to regulate ourselves. We've already taken the time to be more socially aware. Now it's a matter of relationship management. How can I respond in these situations with clarity, respect, and boundaries? All right. So the first thing you want to do is to attempt to understand all sides, right? Now, granted, again, we're not excusing behavior, But attempting to understand all sides gives you more context as to why someone may be acting in a certain way. Um, Again, not to excuse, but to empathize. Okay. The ability to truly empathize with another person's experience is crucial to building emotional intelligence. Sometimes when people say they're emotionally intelligent, they're just thinking about themselves, and that's only half the battle. But being able to be emotionally intelligent also includes being able to empathize with others and be able to step into someone else's experience, not necessarily to excuse the things that they've done or to even try to fix their problem, but to bring understanding within yourself about that person. And sometimes it's a matter of, I know that this person has had a lot of struggles in their life, and the way that they act is based off of that. They may or may not be looking to find a way to improve. But now that I know this, I have to accept that this is who they are in this moment. And now I have to choose whether I want to continue to participate in this relationship or not, right? That's where things kind of fall out of place, because we will notice something about a person. We will see evidence of it over and over and over and over again. We'll maybe even get to a point of acceptance where we now understand this is who this person is, but we still continue to choose to participate in that relationship. And that's what's damaging. Okay. So being an emotion, and I say this not just with romantic relationships, because we see that a lot in romantic relationships where I'm in love, but this person just they're cheating on me, or they're doing all of these things. And it's like, okay, we're seeing this thing happen. They've given us the pattern. They've shown the pattern, but for whatever reason, I'm going to continue to participate in a relationship with them. Right? They've treated me this way, but I'm going to continue to participate. That's where emotional intelligence may be lacking, because of the fact that we're not adjusting based off of what we see. We're adjusting based off of solely off of how we feel. And how we feel, right, is fleeting. And how we feel may not be giving us the entire picture. Okay? So I don't know why I'm in that direction. I don't know if somebody needed to hear that today, but I hope that was helpful. Because when it comes to relationship management, we mistake loyalty for us just trying to be in this relationship and care for this person. But sometimes loyalty has an expiration date, and it's not even necessarily you not being a loyal person. It just means that when I am loyal to someone to an extent to where I'm no longer loyal to myself, then what does that mean, right? Because your loyalty should be within yourself. It should be, I care for myself this much. I love myself. I have this level of understanding of who I am and what I want and what my values are. And if I'm in relationship with someone, romantic or not, friendships, business relationships, whatever, and my loyalty to them is overriding my loyalty to myself, I need to pause and reflect on that. I need to think about that, right? So I hope this is helpful, y'all. Thank you, 93 Love. Clip that. I'll clip it. I'll make sure to clip it. I have not been good at clipping, y'all. I have been horrible at this. So I'm going to get better at clipping in 2026 and go ahead and start posting my clips, because I've been bad at it. I'm going to be very honest. Okay, so that was relationship management. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything. You can acknowledge without agreeing. Okay, you can acknowledge someone's state without agreeing with that state or their action. Okay, you can understand without fixing. Right, we've talked about that throughout this live. You can understand something without trying to fix it, and you can care without carrying. Okay, you can care for someone without carrying them throughout the whole entire process. Okay, many times, especially in relationships, I'll say this specifically about relationships, many times people are carrying people, right? You're very hyper vigilant of them. You're hyper vigilant of their actions. You try to fix their actions and try to make them a certain way. And you know that fixing or that helping may make them a better version of themselves, but they have to want it. right? And ultimately, we spend a lot of time sitting in care for another person and begin to carry them to where we're both exhausted, because now you're carrying yourself and somebody else. It's one thing if you somebody's parent, right? I got 2 kids, 2 teenagers, and there's times where I have to carry them here and there, but that's my job. But eventually when they become adults, one is an adult, he just turned 18, I'm sorry. Moment of silence. um but there's a certain points where you're going to have to carry them, but then there's eventually you're going to have to drop that person. Not necessarily to say that you have to drop them and leave them, but drop them and allow them to be able to carry themselves, right? And if you're spending years and years and years carrying a person, that's exhausting on you, and it's difficult for you to maintain emotional intelligence when you're doing that for other people, especially when you're doing that for multiple people. Okay. So I hope this is helpful, y'all. That was number 4 of the 4 core areas of emotional intelligence. And we're already at 45 minutes, y'all. I talked today. Let me make sure. There are a few reflection questions I had here. So reflection questions that you can use for journaling. Feel free to journal however you wish to, y'all. Same for the affirmations. Feel free to take these affirmations the way that makes sense for you. Write them down, put them in a journal, put them in a sticky note, type them up in your online journal, however you want to do it. But I hope these reflection questions help. Number 1, what emotion do I tend to ignore? What emotion do I tend to ignore? And I would say not just ignore, but is there an emotion that you feel that you don't know what it is? What emotion do you have a hard time naming? Okay. And really take the time to, if you have a lot of emotions that you have a hard time naming, again, get a feelings wheel. Like I said at the top of the live, you can Google feelings wheel, and a bunch of them things will pop up, and you'll be able to see like different types of emotions to give you some ideas. But understanding what emotion you tend to ignore, and then what emotion that you have a hard time naming. Okay. Number 2, how do I usually respond when I feel overwhelmed? What does your overwhelmed self look like? Journal that out. What would a regulated version of me do in this situation? So this is for a particular situation. If you're having a hard time regulating yourself, getting a good picture of what a regulated you looks like. Having that picture will help you to take action within that picture. Does that make sense? And then the last reflection question is, where do I need better emotional boundaries? Where do I need better emotional boundaries? If there is a triggers that you have, know and understand what those triggers are, okay? And create boundaries for those. Now, the boundaries you set are for you, not necessarily for other people, because you're responsible for your emotional triggers, not other people. Now, can other people consider you in situations and have consideration and understanding? That's emotional intelligence, right? They can have that consideration of, oh, I know that this particular thing, this particular show triggers such and such. Maybe I won't watch it when they're around. That's consideration, right? But they are not bound to that. It's ultimately up to you to manage your emotions and your triggers and patterns. Okay, so where do I need better emotional boundaries? Start with where you're triggered. Okay, affirmations. Let me make sure. I have 5, I think. Is it 5? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So I have 5 affirmations. They're quick ones. They're not anything too deep. So I'll just go through these. I allow my emotions to inform me, not control me. I allow my emotions to inform me, not control me. Okay? Like I said, your emotions are teachers. They're not good and bad. They're just a message of what you need and where you need support. I allow my emotions to inform me, not control me. Number 2, I notice my emotions without judging them. I notice my emotions without judging them. I notice my emotions without judging them. You noticing an emotion is not for you to criticize yourself for 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes to an hour. Okay? It's not about your self-criticism. It's bringing up what you're noticing about your emotions isn't for you to say, "Ugh, why do I feel this way? This is stupid." It's not for that. It's for you to say, I was a little embarrassed by that. And, even though I was embarrassed by that, this is what I can do to regulate myself right now, right? Let me not allow this embarrassment to turn into anger. Let's not allow this embarrassment to turn into resentment, okay? That's what we're doing. We're not criticizing, okay? Um, so I notice my emotions without judging them. Number 3, I can be empathetic without taking on what isn't mine. I can be empathetic without taking on what isn't mine. I can be empathetic without taking on what isn't mine. Just because you empathize, just because you notice an emotion in someone else, doesn't mean that you can't show them understanding and love and care. Doesn't mean that you can't show that. But it does mean that you do not need to take responsibility for what they're feeling. You don't have to manage it. They have to manage it. Okay? Give that responsibility back to the other person. And you can empathize. You can be considerate. You can be loving. You can be caring. You can do things for them, right? That's fine. But don't take that on as your responsibility. I'm gonna keep going because then I'm gonna go off on another tangent. And then the last, oh no, there's two more. The number 4 is I honor my feelings while maintaining healthy boundaries. I honor my feelings while maintaining healthy boundaries. I honor my feelings while maintaining healthy boundaries. So you have these feelings and emotions, but you also want to ensure that you do not surpass your own boundaries. Again, boundaries isn't just about setting boundaries with other people. It's about setting boundaries with yourself. And if you want to be an emotionally intelligent person, you have to set your own boundaries. Know what your limitations are. Know what you can and cannot do. Know what you're strong enough and what you're not strong enough for. If you know that this particular situation and person triggers you, why continue to go around them? You don't have to. You really don't. Now, I know sometimes there may be annoying people at work. Do you have to go into their workspace or into their vicinity? You may have to be in meetings, but do you have, you know what I mean? Like, just set your own boundaries for yourself to regulate yourself. Stop putting yourself in situations where that you don't have to put yourself in order to people please. If you don't want to be there, you don't want to be there. If you don't want to go, you don't want to go. There's nothing wrong with that. So I honor my feelings while maintaining healthy boundaries. And the last one, I support my growth through awareness and choice. I support my growth through awareness and choice. I support my growth through awareness and choice. Okay? You can choose your actions. You can choose your boundaries. You can choose your thoughts. You can choose your how you perceive something, right? Just because we perceive something a certain way doesn't necessarily mean that we have to stick with that, right? There is more context, there's more information that we can gain to where our perceptions change. You can reframe your thought patterns. You can reframe how you see something, okay? You can look on the other side and see the silver lining of things. That's what emotional intelligence is. I know I went through a lot, as Justin has said. Thank you, Justin. I know I went through a lot. I know this was a lot. So the playback should be up as soon as it loads. Everything should load soon. So I hope that this was helpful. I hope this is a good beginning to at least exploring emotional intelligence. Again, like I said, emotional intelligence is a spectrum. It's layered. There's so many things that goes into it. So pace yourself with this. This isn't something that you're going to be great at tomorrow. All right. And you may be show up very emotionally intelligent in one relationship or in one space, but then in the other space, it's not that great, right? You may be very emotionally intelligent at work and you can navigate that well. But when you go home and you're dealing with your kids, it may be a totally different story, right? So understanding that there's nuance, there's layers, and that this is more something to a skill set to build versus something that you're going to master. Okay. Again, if this is your first time, my name is Debbie. I am a certified mindfulness coach. This channel is all things about mindful living. Listen, I know y'all probably looking for meditations. It's been stressful this month. It's been a lot. So I'm going to pick back up on posting more meditations and reflection sessions in February. So you guys will get more sessions then. I'm hoping that I can do another a somatic stretching video for you guys too. So that will most likely be coming in February or March. So look out for that. January, we're going to make sure the lives happen. Okay, the live's going to happen. I don't know if you're going to get anything more than that, but I'm pacing myself and I'm learning my limitations. All right. So look out for those, I would say, in February. If you haven't already, you can go to my website at haveninspired.com. You can sign up for the newsletter. We get a newsletter, send out a newsletter every Wednesday. Usually it will have like a recap of what we talked about, or a short recap of what we talked about in the live previously. And then it has like links to all of the most recent videos and lives. So definitely check that out. And I do events, y'all. So if you are looking for anyone for speaking engagements, if you're looking for someone to do any type of workshops, I do several different workshops when it comes to mindfulness, especially in corporate settings. So let me know. You can email me at info@haveninspired.com. If you have any questions, you can email me at info@haveninspired.com. All right, y'all. I hope all is well. Be blessed. God loves you, and so do I. I will talk to you all soon.